All right, everybody, welcome back to another video. And today is November the 25th of 2024. And I will be breaking down the Arizona State and BYU game coming up right after this. To Just Justin. I am Justin, and yes, I'll be breaking down the game that was played on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time down in Arizona State's, stadium in Tempe. Okay, I call it the Valley of the Sun because it's the sun all the time. All right, that's just what I call it. But yeah, so let's go ahead. So this game right here, Arizona was ranked number 16 to be in the preseason, bottom of the pile, bottom of the conference and stuff like that. And BYU is ranked 3 above them. So you have 2 bottom dwellers, BYU and Arizona State, playing each other. But that's not how it's worked out. BYU's been ranked number 1 for most of the season, and Arizona State's been working their way up. All right, so if BYU wins, they clinch a playoff. They don't clinch a playoff. If BYU wins, they clinch a spot in the Big 12 championship there in Arlington, Texas. If Arizona State wins, it creates confusion. So let's get into the game, all right? So BYU came out. So, okay, here's some questions I have. Okay, let me bring up the questions. Will BYU bounce back after that loss to Kansas back last week at LaVell Edwards Stadium? That's one question. Okay. Will the offense show up at Arizona State? Will the defense step up and play like they have been playing all year long? Okay. So those are the 3 questions I have. All right. So let's get into it. All right, so it was kind of, the first quarter was kind of boring, okay? And it broke it down to the Sun Devils scored a touchdown that quarter. That's it. That was it. Okay, the second quarter came along, and, well, the Sun Devils scored another touchdown. All right, so before the half was over, the Sun Devils were 21. And BYU was 3. BYU was only able to kick a field goal. So let's break down the first half. Okay? Questions. Will BYU bounce back? No, they have not bounced back so far in this game. Will the offense show up and play like they have been? No, the offense has not shown up at all. How about the defense? Will they be playing like they have been the whole entire season? No, they have not. They have allowed 21 points to the Sun Devils, and the Sun Devils have only held BYU to 3. 3 points. Okay? So let's go into the third quarter. So during that halftime, I don't know. BYU, I don't know what happened, but BYU came out and they scored a touchdown. Okay? To make it 9-21, they went for a 2-point conversion and failed. All right, so that will come into play later on. Okay? All right, and so, yes, it's 21-9. All right, and then, it took 2 freaking plays. 2 plays for Arizona State to go down the field. All right, so, yeah, Arizona scored and made it 28-9. Okay? All right, and then BYU would go down and they would score and make it 28-17. They did go for a 2-point conversion, and they did make it. All right. And so after that, BYU was able to hold Arizona State to those points and things like that. But they went down the field and they scored another touchdown. So that put it at 23-28. They failed at the 2-point conversion again. Okay, so if we had those 2-point conversions, just an extra point, that would have been 25-28. All right, and then you'll see what I'm going at here in just a minute. Okay, so BYU there in that fourth quarter, they were driving down. They stopped Arizona State. They stopped them from scoring a touchdown. Yeah, they were three. They weren't actually 3-and-out, but they stopped them on fourth and goal. They stopped them. All right, so BYU got the ball back, and they were going down the field. They were just, it was the offensive, I thought, should have shown up at the first of the game. They were going down the field. But that's when Jake threw a freaking interception. And then Arizona ran it back, and I was like, oh, great. The game's over. The game's over, because there was only like a minute left or something like that. But Arizona got the ball. Instead of doing good clock management, and I don't know what the heck they were doing, they were on the BYU 7. And they were clear back on BYU 49-yard line. What the heck? And then they threw the ball. They threw it out of bounds. Technically, that should have been a grounding because he was way outside of the pocket and there was no receiver around. He just threw it out. All right? And so and the fans stormed on the field because they thought the game was over. But after reviewing and stuff like that, there was 1 second left on the clock. So they had to get the fans off the field. And it was 13 minutes, get the fans off the field. They put the goalposts back up. And BYU had the ball on the 49-yard line. Technically. And they should have had that grounding, push the ball back. And they should have had a penalty, not only on the fans for ASU for storming the field early, but on the coach for what the coach was yelling and screaming at the refs and stuff like that. So, unsportsmanlike conduct. But there was no penalties, okay? That's fine. Okay? But BYU came out after that whole entire fiasco of getting the fans off the field, and they threw a Hail Mary. And they caught it on the 2-yard line, but was tackled before it went in. Obviously, there was a pass interference there on the 2-yard line, so it should have been technically another penalty, but the refs weren't really calling penalties throughout the game. Okay, there was so many penalties they missed, not only on BYU, but they missed a lot on Arizona State too. So that is, that's beside the point. So BYU ends up losing that game, 2 in a row, and it drops into a 4-way tie in the Big 12 with Arizona State, BYU, Colorado, and Iowa State. All right, so it's going to be interesting this next week. There's lots of different scenarios. Arizona is most likely have one of those spots in the playoff. Not in the playoff, but in the Big 12 championship. They most likely have one of those 2 spots. Now, will the other one be Iowa State? Or did BYU and Colorado screw themselves because they lost, and now they won't be part of that championship game? And how does that go for the college playoff? It's all a mess right now. But the one thing I wanted to say, it would have been so funny if BYU was able to convert that Hail Mary pass into a touchdown with 1 second left to just leave Arizona State stunned and their students just like, what the F? What the heck? What the heck just happened? That would have been so funny. But no, they did not convert. But yeah, I was frustrated with that game. I was more frustrated with my son than I was with BYU because I'm kind of used to it. Okay? BYU's offense just fell apart in that first quarter, in that first half of the game. Up until mid-third quarter, they were not doing anything. And the defense, they could not stop the running back. Scatterbo, I do believe that's what it is. He was just running the ball all over them. It took like 6 or 7, maybe even 10 people to bring him down. Come on, just stuff him in the pocket. But, that's just me, a quarterback couch, I'm just a couch-sitting critic. But, yeah, BYU and Arizona State, it was a good game to watch. It was, in the daytime and down there in Tempe. So, yes, BYU is now 9-2, 6-2 in conference play. with the rest of the other Arizona State, Colorado, and Iowa State. So, yeah, that's unfortunate that they're in that position. So we'll have to see how the games work out next week. If Utah would have beat Iowa State, then Iowa State would have been the contention for that title game, and then there was only be 3 of them. But I don't know. It's all will be worked out. Probably not in BYU's favor, but it'll all be worked out. So, yes, that is it for the Arizona State recap. It was a good game. BYU fell short. All right, and so next week they play Houston at LaVell Edwards Stadium at 8:15 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's another late night game for the ESPN. So, yeah, if BYU wins that, we'll have to see where all different, BYU has to win that and Kansas State. I don't know. It's just a big mess. Okay, but BYU's just got to win, okay, against Houston. BYU has to win against Houston. That's just it. All right, and also, on a side note, the ESPN computer rankings came out, and they have Alabama sitting at number 7. And they shouldn't even be in the top 15 of that computer rating. But since they're SEC and they're Alabama, they're favored. And so far, the college playoffs, it's going to be an SEC Big Ten show with Boise State, a couple ACC teams, and maybe a Big 12 team. Yeah, it's all favored to just 2 conferences. Don't get me started on that. But I appreciate you guys for sticking around, watching this video. And if you like this, give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you would like to, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I will have more videos coming out here on Just Justin. And until the next time, guys, I will see you later. Bye. Big 12's getting no respect at all. Oh, yeah. And Alabama lost to Oklahoma, who's not even ranked.